Yeah, y'all. It's P again. I got another interview for you right here on No Fluff TV. Make sure you tune in, subscribe, share. Let's go.
County. You already know who it is. It's Madison J. It's Wake County's finest. North Carolina's king of the state. Listen, tapped in, I'm tuned in, I'm locked in, and I'm loaded on TV. So you should do the same, man. Let's go.
This the NC State, riding round in my NC place. The tall hills and NC State, yes, NC's great. Cheer wine in my NC State, wouldn't rather be in any place. This the NC State, riding round in my NC place. The Winston Rams and EC State, yes, NC's great. From Cookout to Bojangles Place, wouldn't rather be in any place. This the NC State. It's a beautiful day in the R.
And the reason why I chose that, man, from a instrumental perspective, the beat is dope. You got a lot of emotion in it, and just tight all around. The message of the song, I think, as a hip hop artist, man, one thing you have to be in hip hop is fearless,
Right.
because you know, a lot of times as an artist, you can't get caught up in, you know, who's gonna like this, who's gonna be offended, or whatever, because you know, hip hop is should be authentic, no fluff, right?
Right.
When you write something, man, that's why I tell a lot of younger artists, man, if you want to be a hip hop artist, you got to be vulnerable. So you have to talk about, you know, your struggles. You have to share some things, man, that you probably wouldn't normally share in the open. But as an artist, man, that's your service to the hip hop world.
Right.
And that song just kind of represents for me, man, hey, listen, you can hate me, you can judge me, you can do all of that, man, but it ain't gonna stop me. You know, I'm gonna keep making music. I'm gonna keep doing what I do. And he just has such a strong conviction on that song, man, that, man, this is who I am. This is where I am. This is where I'm supposed to be. You can hate it or love it. It really don't make a difference, man. I'm moving forward. So I think with hip hop, man, you have to be authentic. You have to be fearless. So
Right.
Yeah.
And so even think about that song, Hate Me Now. It was controversial because in the video, him and Puff and somebody else, I think it was on Crosses. So how do you feel about that now looking back?
Yeah. So I remember seeing that, man, and you know, me personally, you know, I didn't get offended by it, right? I looked at it as if, you know, as anybody else, you know, casting, you know, putting together a cast to play, you know, any movie that you know, depicted Jesus in it, right? You got to pick somebody to do it.
Right.
It's his video. In this case, he chose himself. You know, whether he believed personally like he's the Messiah, I don't think he believes that. But I think you know, so as Christ was persecuted, we would be persecuted as well as
so
believers.
they hated him too.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So if they and I think that was more so what he was trying to show as a visual. That look, man, they hated God, man, they gonna hate us. They hated Christ, they gonna hate us. So hey, keep going.
Right.
You know? So yeah.
I think that's a good perspective because you know there are some people within the Christian community say, well, he was blaspheming. You know, he was already calling himself God's son.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get your kind of, you know.
I mean, even with that title, God's son.
Right.
Again, that's being vulnerable.
Right.
He knew that was gonna stir up some stuff, right?
Right.
But he went with whatever thought or feeling he had. He said, "Man, you know what? I'm gonna name it this."
Right.
And whatever his conviction was for doing it was strong enough that he didn't care about the any backlash he would receive. Now, if he changed it because he was afraid of the backlash, I don't think that's hip hop. Right. You know, I don't think that's being authentic. So again, man, you know, you have to do. I mean, you're an artist, man, but you're not creating, especially in hip hop, you're not creating this, you know, any, you know, this smoke and mirror type of image where people have to wonder, you know, who you are and kind of, you know, I mean, it's just being authentic, man.
Right. Okay, so what made you say, or what was it that made you say, I really can do this? like beyond rapping in the closet, and or however you was recording, starting off, what made you say, all right, I want to continue on because I really believe in this talent that I have?
Yeah. I think the first thing that happens, man, is the influence, and we talked about that, right? Now, if I heard hip hop and just was like, man, I'm not even feeling it, you know what I'm saying? And I'm sure there's people out there who might have heard it at a young age and was like, that ain't really what I'm into. So I think that's the first thing that happened, is if the influence made me say, wow, let me look a little deeper into this, right? So you start to experience with other music, other artists or whatnot. And then it was, let me take ownership of it, right? So after I was influenced, I was like, all right, let me own it. Let me start doing it myself and see what happens. So after we, got beyond imitating our favorite artists, we were now writing our own music. And just out of my crew, man, and my team that I grew up with, when we began to write and perform, now you're looking for the confirmation of if the talent's there.
Right.
Yeah, from fans, and then even from people, your friends, right?
Friends, right, yeah.
And so when you start to hear, yo, you dope, bro. Like, yo, that's hot. Like, yo, man, oh, snap, dude, you got to record that, do that.
Right.
So that kind of assures you, oh, man, maybe I got
put
something.
a battery in your back.
Maybe I got something. So, and then from there, man, it's just, continuing to write, continuing to practice your craft. And, and before long, man, you do your appearances here and there. And then the phone start ringing, and hey, I want you here, I want you there, I want you here,
right.
And before you know it, man, you're in it,
right?
And it's almost like, wow, it's kind of like something that was meant to happen almost.
Right.
So, yeah.
Do you remember any of your first raps you wrote? You have one that you wrote back in the day. You like, this right here. Yeah.
Yo, man, I know bits and pieces.
Okay.
Of some of the old.
Give me a couple lines. Give me a couple lines.
Man. Yo, look, this is like 10 years old, 11 years old. All right.
Okay.
So this is like me at 11. Running on the playground, like merry-go-round and all that stuff, right?
Okay.
So from my 11-year-old, 12-year-old mind, man, I remember this joint. Me and my brother, this joint was like, hey, you, get off my land. You don't know me and you don't know my clan. I'll go bad if you step to another man. And I was like, nigga. I'm a blue and black ninja, a cyber ninja. I blow your ribs off if I pull my trigger. I know I shouldn't smoke so much, but I do. If I'm not on the block, then I'm on the avenue. If your crew don't have a clue what I'm trying to do, well, too bad for you, cause we coming after you. Yeah. 11 years old, 12 years old.
Wow,
this
right.
is
that Wu-Tang influence is right there.
Right
there.
And that was I do, believe it or not, man, that probably was the first joint I wrote, man.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, man, that'll always be with me, man. That was the beginning, bro. Yeah.
So, taking your your rap thing to another level now, you're I guess more focused on being an artist. So what was that like time period? When did you kind of get more serious into doing that?
I think when being when you get started so young, you really don't have any concept of the business part of it, or even the seriousness of it, or what it could be. Yeah, you see the dudes on TV and everything, but you're looking at people on TV who's at that time for me was at least 5-10 years older than me, right? So even then I'm like, yeah, I want to get there, but at the moment, man, all you focus on is making music. And I think what happened to me, man, is then we had people came around us, producers, managers, stuff like that, and we formed a team, man. Shout out to Dreams to Reality. DTR was one of the first groups we officially got with, where we had our studio, we had a manager, we had producers on the team.
Right.
Also, shout out to 21st Records. My cousin in Raleigh, that was another team we got with, where again we had the manager, we had the producers, and we had more structure. And really, it was dependent on the manager, the older guys in the team, man, to make sure that doors were open from a business standpoint, whereas me as a young artist could continue just practicing my craft and creating, which is what I was good at, creating, and then just having somebody say, all right, so here's the route we need to take, here's the moves we need to make to maximize this thing. It really didn't hit me, man, until I got out on my own, in a sense, where I wasn't working with, DTR or 21st or anything like that. And it was just Cappello. And then I had to think of, all right, where I'm going to go and record. All right, what my next CD out cover is going to look like.
Right.
What merch do I need? So you begin to, and that's what got me thinking as an artist, and not only as an artist, but as a promoter, as a manager, as all of that in one. You were doing that, yeah. So I think I had to take the grow my own wings, man, and really start to think at things from a different perspective than when you're up by yourself, man, independently.
Right. And so when you doing the music, I guess you were doing it secular, right? And so at what point did you say, all right, I'm gonna now change this to rap for God? Like, I want to be maybe at that time it was called gospel rap, right?
Yeah.
And so, what made you kind of transition to that?
So, man, that's I actually did a video of this recently, man. This challenge I got in called the Body Bag Challenge, and I actually rapped my shout out to Dayton, man, and Bizzle and all them guys. I did my testimony in reverse on the song. But anyway, man, so I was a freshman in college.
What school?
Winston-Salem State University.
Okay. Yeah. The Rams.
Rams. Yep. Shout out to the Rams, man. Yeah. I went to and I had this show to do, and I was still secular artist then, right? But I had this show to do, and Joel Santana was the headliner, and they had some opening acts. I was one of the opening acts. But prior to that, man, God was already kind of dealing with me, and it was kind of weird. He started to put people in my life that brought upon that influence. One of the main things was my daughter was born, my first daughter, and that made me look at life a whole lot different, right? And then I used to work with this guy, man. He was my manager, and he rapped, and I remember, and we used to rap on the job and all that stuff. But I remember him coming to me one day like, "Yo, man, I'm thinking about rapping for God, bro." And I was like,
"That's hilarious."
What? Yeah, that was funny to me, man, because up until that point, every gospel rap I heard, man, was lyrically whack.
Right. Okay, what year was this?
Oh man, this was 2004, maybe.
Okay.
2004. Now it was some artists out there that was dope. I just didn't know them, right?
Right. I was about to trying to think. I'm trying to think when I first heard Lecrae.
Yeah, see, Lecrae was out then, but I just, because I was in the space that I was in, I wasn't looking for it, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I was, and so to me, I just didn't have, because, people, how can it be whack? They're rapping about God. No, lyrically, you can be a little soft, right?
Right.
Just like in the secular world, you got whack artists, you got great artists.
Right.
But either way, man, so for me, I was like, yeah, I laughed at it. But I walked away. It was a seed planted even in that conversation, man, because like I said, God was already dealing with me, man, from the birth of my daughter. And I was like, man, you know what?
Even from the, how they say, a child out of wedlock, you felt that God was still pulling on you.
Man, without a doubt, man.
Okay.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think God has a way to show up in people's lives, man. They say he works in mysterious ways, right? Well, maybe that was one of the mysterious ways he worked in my life. The birth of my child is what began to have me thinking about life a lot different. Like, I didn't even want to go to the clubs anymore, right? Because all I was thinking about was my daughter, right? So, but that show I went to that night, man, I felt like that was gonna be my last show, and it was.
Wow.
And I got booed off stage, man.
So you did bad.
I did. I put it like this.
You was rhyming on stage, and the Lord was talking to you the whole time, but you didn't realize that He was talking to you the whole time, but you was still performing, and they were like, "What is this nigga doing?" Boo! Is that what happened?
You know what, man? To this day, man, all I can say, man, is God, you know, intervene, man. Gotcha. I do know I couldn't believe what was happening, right? And I tried to rap through it. Like, I tried to get louder than the boos, and when nothing was working, man. And I remember when I left the stage, it was a weird feeling, man, because normally I would be embarrassed. Mm-hmm. Normally I'd be ashamed, and just like, yo, I don't even want to show my face on campus again. Right. But I walked away, man, and I remember looking up, man, saying, God, I got you. I know what you're trying to tell me. Right. And I felt like God was saying, look, if I have to embarrass you in front of the whole world to get your attention, I'll do just that. Because nothing's going to work for you going this route. And until you listen to me and and the direction I'm trying to take you, that ain't going to work. Right. And I remember going to my homeboy, man, in the crowd. I was like, yo, what happened, man? He was like, yo, your beat was garbage, man. Or something he was saying, I don't know. But either way, man, rest in peace to him, man. Brandon, man.
He died? Okay.
Yeah. God bless. But he was one of the first dudes that experienced that change in my life, man, early on. And from there, man, I actually left rap alone. I wasn't even gonna rap anymore, man, because I was like you said. I mean, I was taught, hey, hip hop and God just don't mix, right?
Yeah, and G. Craig Lewis really messed it up.
Yeah, man, yeah, for real, man. And so I left rap alone, man, but I'm thankful I did, because that gave me an opportunity, man, to just dive deeper into the Bible and just study His Word and get more of a close relationship with Him. But it wasn't long, man, before He brought it back. And you know, the Bible says, man, that God has given us a variety of spiritual gifts, and He tells us to use them well, to serve one another. So, you know, with any type of art form, man, it's not really the type of art form, it's how you're using it. You know what I mean? Right. What impact are you having on people? So,
right.
This that NC State, riding round in my NC place. Them tall hills and NC State. Yes, NC's great. Cheer wine in my NC State. Wouldn't rather be in any place. This the NC State, riding round in my NC place. The Winston Rams and NC State. Yes, NC's great.